Hi, Rick Dulai here from Remax Metropolitan. I am your real estate expert and consultant. And in today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about buying a foreclosure, basically what to expect and how to handle the process. So what you'll learn today is a little bit about the procedures and definitions, what to expect when we're viewing properties, how to write an offer, what the value of a home inspection is, and a little bit about the closing process and timelines. So to start off, I'm wondering if you've heard some of these terms, which I'm sure you have, but foreclosure, bank-owned, REO, and HUD home. A foreclosure is a process by which a bank or lender takes ownership of a home from a delinquent homeowner or borrower. So the bank, which is the mortgage company, when a homeowner misses their payments, they start a process of taking ownership of the home so that they can sell it to recover the money that they've lent on the property. But typically, the first three terms I listed on the previous slide, foreclosure, bank-owned, and real estate owned, or REO, are all the same. Real estate owned is an internal bank term that banks talk about real estate that they own. But typically after the third missed payment, a bank will start the foreclosure process. And in Michigan, homeowners have 6 months from when that process is initiated to redeem the property. This is called the redemption period. This is the time in which a homeowner, if they can make up their payments, can redeem the property, keep it in their name, stop the foreclosure process, prevent the bank from taking the property back. Once the redemption period is over and the homeowner was unable to redeem it, the bank will take ownership at a sheriff's sale. After the sheriff's sale, the bank will typically do some work to the property, clean it out, make sure the eviction is complete, and then they list it with people like me, real estate agents that can market the property for sale on the market. So when you're viewing a foreclosure, you have to keep some things in mind. Typically the property is vacant. And since they're vacant, yes, that does mean that we can pretty much schedule to look at the property at any time. However, on the other side of that, a property may be vacant for 6 months already, or even longer in some cases, and it can sometimes smell stale or musty. Also, since the fact that there's no furniture in the property, or that some of the imperfections maybe stand out, like holes in the wall and things like that, or maybe some cabinet doors are loose or scratches on the doors, these things are much more prominent when there's no furniture in a house. So you have to have some imagination, be able to see beyond all that. You got to think about how you're going to use the space and look more for structural defects. Is the furnace there? All the mechanicals there? Air conditioning unit, the roof. How is the roof? Is there any water damage, any mold? Things of that nature. Don't be surprised if you go to view a property and that there are multiple agents there. This happens all the time. Typically, you may wait for an agent if they have a client in there. You may wait for them to come out before you go in and see the property. But if there's a lot of people there, you just go in and look. I mean, time is of the essence here, and we got to get in and look at the property and decide if we're going to make an offer. Sometimes you show up and the key is missing. This does happen a lot, and some people don't play fair. Some people will steal the key from the lockbox so that nobody else can get in, and this buys them time to get their offer in and possibly accepted before anybody else can even see the property. In those situations, we do our best to contact the listing broker, get the key, and get our clients in there so that we also can submit an offer if we are interested. Keep in mind that the bank has already considered the current condition of the property in their price. This is why prices are so low right now. The bank is selling this property as is, and they're hoping that they have priced it to sell based on the condition. So when you're writing an offer, you got to remember all those people that were there before. They all may be looking to write offers also. When that happens, we call that a multiple offer situation. And often the banks will instruct us to request the highest and best from all the buyers, possible buyers. That typically means this is your one shot to give the highest and best offer that you can give. If they reject your offer, you cannot go back now and say, oh, well, we'll pay full price or we'll pay more than full price. They already gave you the chance. Most likely they will pick one of the offers out of that group. However, that may not happen. This is not a final offer situation. The the bank has the right to reject all the offers and may continue to show the property and ask for highest and best again if they get multiple offers a second time around. Banks do favor cash offers most of the time. The reason is, and sometimes they'll even take a lower cash offer for this, but you can close quicker. It saves time and money on their end. It's less that they have to insure on the property. It's less maintenance on the property. All those things are taken into consideration. Although a $500 or $1,000 deposit is typical, some banks will like to see 1 to 3% of the offer to reflect the seriousness of the buyer. There's no standard. You can put no deposit or $0, or you can put 500. You can do whatever you want, but sometimes the banks are looking for 1 to 3%, and I think it's good to rely on your agent to determine what is the best deposit to submit to show how serious you are. Once your offer has been verbally accepted, and I stress verbally because in the state of Michigan, verbal offer in real estate means nothing. Okay, so even if the bank says we accept your offer, you have nothing yet. And the reason I say that is because your offer was submitted typically online or through email to the bank or their representative, and they are now going to send you back addendums that go with this offer. That addendum overrides everything that's in the purchase agreement. So they don't even consider it a full offer until they get all the original paperwork along with their addendums back. And that's when you have an offer in writing that is worth something in a court. The bank addendums are very lengthy and detailed. They have all kinds of stuff in there, and they're basically letting you know that they are not responsible for anything. They don't want to know about mold. They don't want to know about damage to the property. They've already taken these things into consideration when they priced it. They're basically just letting you know it's an as-is sale, and you can't even change anything on their documents. You can try to send an addendum to make changes, and sometimes that includes like misspellings of names and stuff. So you got to know the paperwork really well, and I hope to be able to provide you with some sample addendums from the bank so that you have an idea of what to expect. Most of them also include a per diem charge of about $100 a day. And what that means is if you have a closing date set and through some fault of yours, maybe you're on vacation or you can't get off of work, you can't meet that deadline, you can't close by the date that you said you would close, they will charge you $100 a day until you do close. So always make sure that you have a realistic date to close and that you can execute accordingly. Many banks will allow 5 to 10 days for a home inspection. You can sometimes get more, sometimes they'll squeeze you to less, but that's typical. 5 to 10 days is typical. The home inspection itself, you're going to need some things done with the property before you can do it. So, for example, you may have to turn the utilities on. You may have to de-winterize plumbing and then re-winterize it. Especially in Michigan, during the winter months, the properties are de-winterized. What that means is they've flushed all the water out of the systems and they've used antifreeze in the drains to keep them from cracking and breaking. And basically, they're just protecting their asset during the wintertime so pipes don't freeze and bust and that kind of stuff. So you may have to de-winterize them in order to do your inspection. And then when your inspection is done, you will have to pay to re-winterize them. Typically, it's the same contractor that comes out and does it all, and the listing broker will give you information on that. And there are fees associated with this. I've seen them all the way from $125 to $250 is not uncommon. The bank does not care about the results of the inspection. Most likely they're already aware of all the defects of the property, and like I said before, they've already priced it accordingly. They just want to know if you're satisfied or not. So if you're happy with the inspection and you already knew what to expect, you don't have to do anything. Continue with the process and everything moves on. However, if you are dissatisfied with your home inspection for any reason, you must let them know in writing within 24 hours of the inspection. And by doing so, you are either killing the deal and asking for your deposit back so you can move on to another property or you're opening it up that you may want to try to negotiate with them. However, the banks do not like to negotiate on home inspections. They are already priced low. They know this, and from their point of view, it's an as-is deal, and they're sick and tired of buyers overbidding a property just to lock it into a contract and then trying to use the home inspection to bring the price down once the contract has been accepted. So it's very difficult. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. You may be able to do it, but it is very difficult. You're better off just deciding whether you want the property or not. So the closing process. Typically, the bank will pick the title company. The title company is the company that's providing insurance that the title is passing cleanly between the seller and the buyer. They are also the ones that actually execute the closing. Typically, the person that sits there and has you sign all the paperwork is an agent of the title company. The banks usually pick that company because they're the ones that are paying for their service. The bank or representative will not be present, and most of the time the listing agent isn't there either. The reason is because either the paperwork was mailed to them and they signed and shipped it all back to the title company in time for you to be there to buy it and sign all the paperwork, or when you're done signing everything, they send the title company will send the paperwork to the bank, and you close an escrow, meaning that once everything is signed and back, the title company gets all the paperwork back. They will then file everything and disperse all the checks and payments to the appropriate parties involved. 3 things to keep in mind. Never start working on a property before closing. This is a huge no-no. Do not do this. If for some reason you do not close, you just worked on the bank's property and they just got free work. And they will consider you in breach of contract if you do that. Because they have not authorized you to do it. They are still the owners, and they have not insured the kind of work that you may be doing. So don't ever try to do that. Never start moving into a property before closing. Last thing the bank wants to do is take on the responsibility of someone living in a property that they have, claimed as vacant, and all of a sudden something happens, a fire, a crime, someone gets hurt. Anything could happen, and the bank is not going to assume responsibility. So never move in. And always rekey a property after closing. A lot of people have been in and out of this house. These keys are not unique, so you have to be very careful. Always, as soon as you close, have a locksmith get to the property and change all the locks and get a brand new set of keys. The peace of mind and the safety issue here is the most important thing. So please always rekey your property and just be safe. Okay, that's it. If you have any questions, you can contact me. You go to the contact me section of my website and email me, call me, whatever you prefer. Okay, thank you very much.